Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Spotlight Friday from the Alzheimer's Association, the Longest Day Committee I am part of, and I am so excited to have with us today a very special guest, someone that has helped me with one of my biggest longest day projects, the Broadway show, as well as being such a huge part with the Alzheimer's Association, especially here in Nebraska. So please help me welcome this week's guest and Spotlight featured person, Terry Streetman. Hi, Terry. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for doing this with us. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, who you are, kind of that type of stuff, and what you do for the association.
Sure. So I'm Terry Streetman. I am a Great Lakes kid at heart originally, born in Michigan, grew up in Ohio, and back there in the Great Lakes, all my family is there. And so my connection, what got me into working on Alzheimer's related issues, my grandfather passed away from the disease in 2005. And my favorite things to tell people about my grandfather is, everyone likes to claim that their grandfather or their dad was the smartest person they knew, but I think mine had a pretty legitimate claim for the title. Multiple advanced degrees, head of design staff at General Motors, and a literal rocket scientist. And so obviously watching somebody with that kind of knowledge go through the progression of Alzheimer's, that's what motivated me to do something about it. So my path to where I am now is long and varied. I started out just going to the walks after my grandfather passed, became a committee member, became the co-chair, started a young professionals group, launched a rivals game, was a board member, and then eventually that all led up to 2017. I finally convinced them to start paying me, and so I joined the chapter here in Nebraska. Started out actually managing the longest day, and now I work as the director of public policy and advocacy for the chapter.
Wow, look at you. What a road. What a road.
Yeah, it's been a long journey.
So the longest day is something very passionate to you since you really worked hard with that at one time, which is amazing. And we all, I think, pretty much for the most part have been part of the walks, because that's kind of been the thing that's really got most of us started. And it's so exciting that I get to be part of the longest day now, kind of where you started at, which is really, really cool. And I get to wear this fabulous little committee pin now. So tell us a little bit about what you do with the advocacy side of that and your public relations stuff. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So, people are familiar with the Alzheimer's Association. We have our fundraising events like the Walk and the Longest Day. We have our programs and care and support that we do in the community. And then, another sort of leg of that three-legged stool is the public policy side, where we work with state and federal politicians, elected officials, and advance policies that protect and support folks with, dementia, those who serve as caregivers, try to get increased research funding at the federal level. So my role as the director of public policy is to really do a lot of that direct one-on-one interaction with our legislators, but also to manage, recruit and manage advocacy volunteers. And so, you may notice my shirt says your voice, the sign over my shoulder says your voice matters. That's really the biggest message that we have, and the biggest part of my work is helping to amplify those voices of other folks in the community who have been impacted by this disease, because all of our voices together are a lot stronger and a lot more effective when it comes to advancing some of these policies.
Absolutely. And I love that whole slogan of your voice matters, because I don't think a lot of people realize there are a lot of people with Alzheimer's and dementia that don't have the opportunity to speak or speak about what's going on. And so it is our jobs as the caregivers and the public opinion people, I guess is that you would want to call them, are the ones that do have the voice that can speak on behalf of those people that are doing it. And this is something that's very passionate with me to see what you do, Terry, because you are one of the people that helps push through things at the governmental level, whether it be city, states, United States. It starts with a spot. And I always think back to that Schoolhouse Rock day as I'm just a bill.
Yeah.
And, in my head, Terry, you remind me of I'm just a bill, just the bill guy, because that's what you do. And that's what's awesome. And I love that about you. Thank you for doing all of that, Terry. Tell us a little bit how you go down and really motivate our senators and even the governor to want to be in a position to really help us move things forward in our legislative process here in Nebraska.
Sure. I mean, well, we're in a fortunate position in that, this is an easy cause to get behind. Whether it's because just it's obvious what the impact is, in general, financially and the human toll of it, but also, as I'm sure from doing this as long as I have, everybody's got a connection, whether it's direct or they know somebody. And unfortunately, the truth is, if you don't, you probably will. And so that it does make the argument for supporting these things a little easier because everybody kind of knows what that's like. But when you look at the scope of it and the scale of the impact, 35,000 Nebraskans living with the disease, 61,000 caregivers, $372 million in Medicaid costs for the state of Nebraska alone, those are numbers that are really going to turn some heads. So, that's the kind of arguments that we make. We present those statistics, but then, sort of the running theme is those statistics then need to be wrapped around the personal individual stories. There are 35,000 people living with disease, and my uncle, sister, cousin, whoever it is one of them. So, we hold meetings directly with legislators. We encourage our advocates to reach out. We actually just wrapped up our state advocacy days this week. So it's really a mix of that direct lobbying, working with advocates, and really just building that public concern and awareness.
Awesome. And
yeah.
I want everybody to know that it's because of what you do and the information that we get as well, that I actually reached out to my senator, and amazingly enough, I got an actual email back from the senator himself saying, I am fully supporting this bill that that you guys were doing. And, unfortunately, I'm on a different committee, but when asked about this, I am in full support of the bill. And I was so excited to see that, because what you do and all those other people that go down to Lincoln do, you make that impact with them, that when we reach out as just the constituents and the other advocacy people, we get positive feedback from our senators that they've been notified and that they know what we're talking about when we talk to them. So that's one thing that I would like to push to everybody that's watching this, is that do your part and talk to one of your senators, because, the bill, Terry, can only do so much. It's the rest of our voices that need to be heard as well. And I can't agree more with your voice matters. And it does, it really does, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that information, Terry. That's
Absolutely.
absolutely amazing what you do down there for us. And thank you for that. That's awesome. So you mentioned that you did the longest day. You were that chairperson. So I'm going to guess, just on a whim, that you might still do an event. Is that right?
That's correct.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, tell us about the event that you're going to do.
Yeah. So, for me, what I'm planning to do for the longest day, I mentioned that my grandfather was my connection to this disease and what got me into it. And in addition to all those other incredible things that he did and that he was also a master woodworker. And so as I, have gotten into the hobby of woodworking, I've decided to use that as my longest day fundraiser. So what I'm planning to do is spend some time between now and the longest day making various little items. Actually, over my shoulder here, this frame with the Alzheimer's Association symbol is something that I made. And my idea is that I'm going to ask folks for donations, and then the donations will be entries into sort of a raffle for some of the items that I make. And so, for me, it's a way to carry on that legacy of my grandfather's, work as a woodworker, and then also help to contribute to the fight against, the disease that ultimately took him from us.
Wow, I love that. My grandfather also was a big woodworker and used to make all kinds of little shelves and trinkets and the fun stuff, the things
right.
that, yeah. And I absolutely love that little sign that you made back there. I would love to have one of those. I'll send you a donation if I can get one of those. So I feel your passion there, and I love building because of my grandfather, and that, and I can see that in you. I can see the passion when you talk about that. And that's what I love when I talk to people about these things, is the passion that I see behind their eyes when they talk about what they're doing and how they're doing it and why. So your grandfather sounds like he was an absolutely amazing man. I might put him up against mine, but I don't know who would win. I'll be honest.
Yeah, we'll call it a draw.
We'll call it a draw. I like that. I like that. So you've told us, why you're doing this. That's amazing. The other thing I usually ask people is, what's your goal in all of this? Do you have an out and out fundraising goal that you want to tell us about, or do you have an overall goal that you are really pushing towards?
I haven't set a specific fundraising goal yet, and usually I shoot for that $1,000 mark. This year, just everything being as it has been, kind of just up in the air. I'm not quite as far along in my planning as I'd like to be. But I think probably I'll still shoot for around that same place, that $1,000 mark. It feels like a nice square number they can really shoot for, and gets people excited when you're getting close to it.
Absolutely. That's one of my favorite things, is to see the reactions when I do my longest day event and we're getting close to that goal number that we've earmarked, and the excitement people get, because then they start really wanting to give just a little bit more, and that's fun. So good for you. I hope you reach your goal this year. All right, Terry, this is the time of the show where I love to throw people on the spot. And it's what I call the Alzheimer's slogan, or your fight song. What would you say your Alzheimer's fight song would be, or fight cry?
I don't know that I'm going to sing a song necessarily or get up and jump around, but I think it's pretty obvious at this point what my sort of rallying slogan is, or should be. And really it is, your voice matters. I mean, if I can't leave people with anything else, it's, I tell people all the time, if you want to feel like there's something to be hopeful about in government, become an Alzheimer's advocate. You will see things happen. You will see progress. You will see politicians change their minds about things and join and support, because your voice matters. So, that's what I think I'd go with. That's my bumper sticker. That's my banner. Literally, it's my banner. So
literally,
yeah.
You have shirts made even.
Yeah.
Perfect. I love it. That's a perfect slogan for you. I will be perfectly honest. And it's true. Your voice matters. My voice matters. And everyone's voice matters. If you don't speak, nobody hears it. And if nobody hears it, nothing gets done. And that's the point of the day, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to this type of stuff. So good for you. Thank you so much, Terry. It was so great to have you on this week's Spotlight. I really couldn't have thought of a better person to have come on, especially with the advocacy stuff going on right now, and really wrapping things up. So with that, I want to thank you, Terry, for joining me today on our Spotlight Friday and being our special guest. Is there anything you'd like to let everyone else know that we may not have touched on?
I think what I would just say is, if you're interested, if you've got a passion for this, sign up to be an advocate. You can go to our website, alz.org/Nebraska. You can click on the button that says advocate, sign up. It's not a huge commitment, but it makes a tremendous difference. And then the other thing I always try to leave people with is just the reminder that you don't have to do this alone. Far too many people end up, feeling like this is a struggle they have to take on themselves. Call the Alzheimer's Association. We can connect you with resources. There's no reason you're not alone, and you don't have to feel that way.
Definitely not. And I am a perfect example of not being alone. Everyone that I can say that I've talked to so far on this Spotlight Friday thing that I kind of put together, I could not be more pleased with all of you guys' hard work at the association and everything that you do. You were there during the downfall of Mom and Grandma. You were there after, upon the death of both of them, and you still are there after they have been gone. And people need to realize that there are tons of people out there for you, whether you need to talk, whether you need help, whether you need anything, really anything. I'll be honest, a smile, a laugh, a hug. Well, it's a COVID hug right now, so
right.
But anything you need, you guys really have all that in the bag, and I couldn't be more pleased with everything that you guys have done for my family, as well as countless thousands of families in Nebraska. So thank you so much, Terry, and the rest of you, the people you work with, for being so awesome to the rest of us that are just kind of the pawns in all of this, if you will. Big pawns. We do a
Sure.
lot, but we're still the pawns in all of this.
Well, yeah.
So
we're happy to be here for you, and thank you for having me here. And it's always fantastic to chat with you. Hopefully someday in the not too distant future, we can all be together again in person.
absolutely. I hope that we can see you all and have our famous chip break that we have in the office. And
Looking forward to it.
And I get to see you all again. That day will come, I promise, I hope, and as well as the end of Alzheimer's. That day will come. I hope to see it in my lifetime. Terry hopes to see it in his lifetime. The biggest joke that we have at the association is, if you guys all one day ended up not having a job, that none of you would be mad about it. And
please put me out of a job. Please help us get there, so that there's not a need for this job anymore. That would be fantastic.
That would be just the icing on the cake, really. The only profession I know where the employees would love to be out of a job.
That's true.
Well, Terry, I want to thank you so much for joining me this week. Terry has done such wonderful things for our state of Nebraska. And if you don't know who he is, here he is right here. Look him up on Facebook, shoot him a message, say thank you. And is there anything I can do to help you out? Because he will tell you what to do. Trust me.
That's right.
He will tell you exactly what to do. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for joining me this week and our special guest, Terry, for another Spotlight Friday here on The Longest Day. We'll see you next week. And as always, remember, stick around just for a little bit, because the Alzheimer's Association has a wonderful message for you all about the longest day.
The longest day is the day with the most light, the summer solstice. On June 20th, help us stand up to the darkness of Alzheimer's by raising funds for the care, support, and research efforts of the Alzheimer's Association. It's easy. Pick any activity you enjoy and turn it into a fundraiser to fight Alzheimer's. From bowling to basketball and card games to crafts, any activity can be part of the longest day. Your family, friends, colleagues, and the Alzheimer's Association are here to support you along the way. Together, we can get closer to our ultimate goal, the first survivor of Alzheimer's. The day with the most light is the day we fight. Start now. Select your activity at alz.org/thelongestday.